mounting my Oncidium Orchid today. So today I'm just going to mount it on this piece of cork bark, and this one is actually pretty big. It's about 7 by 10 inches, and I purchased this on Amazon for about $10, so it was kind of pricey, but I think this piece will do just fine for this orchid. So I just want to lay it on there to show you. It's really big, the roots are really huge, and I'm just gonna take a chance and mount this on here even though it's really huge, because I'm not sure what to do in terms of repotting it. It keeps on growing upwards and I think if it's mounted on this cork, it'll be able to grow upwards and attach itself to the cork board. So what you're gonna need is an orchid and a piece of wood. You can use a lot of different types of wood, like tree fern, and I'm using cork bark. This is really light, so it's not gonna weigh down too much when you're hanging it on say the ceiling. You're gonna need a drill to drill the hole in it, in the bark, and you're gonna need wire to hang your piece of bark. So I'm using this one, which is green. It looks more blue than green really, but it's galvanized wire that I got for about $9 from Home Depot. And I'm gonna use sphagnum moss. I think just to tuck it in there a little bit, because the place where I live is pretty dry, so I don't want the roots to dry out. And I'm gonna use just this beading thread. I don't have fishing line, which I think most people use that, but I don't have that, and I just wanted to use this bead thread because I wasn't ever gonna make any more beads. And I'm gonna use these wire cutter and then just pliers. And last but not least, some water, just to make the sphagnum moss a little damp. It's easier to lay the sphagnum moss on when it's a bit damp, so I'm just going to use the spray bottle to spray the sphagnum moss before I put it on the orchid. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole in this, and I'm going to attach the wire to this so I can hang it later. I'm just going to use my drill. So there it is. There's a hole in there, and I'm gonna just put my wire through. So I don't think I'm gonna make it that long. It's gonna be okay if I cut it pretty short. You can always change the wire later, so it's not a big deal if you messed up. You can always take it out and change it afterwards. And this wire I'm using is actually pretty thick, and it's actually easy to bend, but after it bends, it stays the way that it's supposed to. So if you can see, I'm using my hand to uncurl it, so I'm able to bend it pretty easily. And what I mean when it says it stays in its shape is when I bend it like this, it stays this way. It's strong, so it should be able to support the orchid, or the weight of this and the orchid. So I'm just going to insert this through the hole. Like so. Okay, so there I have just this hooked onto the wire, and I told you that I was going to make it long, but it still turned out to be really long. So I might just cut this up into two and then I can reuse it for something else. But let's move on to the mounting of the orchid. So I'm going to lay the orchid on here as best as I can, and there's actually quite a lot of roots. You could also cut the roots up and then trim it back, but I don't think I will. I'm just gonna keep it like that. Later on I might want to trim the roots a little bit, but right now I just want to keep all the roots just to make sure that it has a really good root system, and most of the roots are actually in really good condition, so it's okay to keep them. And I'm gonna put in a little bit of sphagnum moss on the sides just to keep it a little bit moist. Where I live, it's really dry, but because there's so much roots that I don't think I'm gonna pack it all in and cover up all the roots, but I'm just gonna put it maybe in between here on the sides and here, just to help the roots out and make it so that it's not so dry. So let's see, I'm gonna spray. I think that's good enough. Alrighty, now I'm going to have to tie this to the bark. And I'm just going to use my jewelry thread. Okay, so there you have it. It's mounted, and there's still some sphagnum moss left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck it into these areas where there's nothing there, just to make sure that it's not dried out.